Welcome to the Fish and Coach Show. I'm Brandon Fisher. This is Coach Ratner. And today we're going to be talking about your journey as your endgame.
That's amazing. I love this topic because my whole life, I always thought that in order to us to get to a goal, to get somewhere, we have to do this to get that. But I've quickly learned as I got older that really, you don't realize, when you're young, in your 20s, you have no idea this is the case. But when you get to be your 50s, you realize that everything that happens in our life is part of our end game.
Wow. So is this something that is at the destination? You have to be somewhere to get to that end game?
Well, no, the destination itself is part of the journey. Like you can you can do something like maybe try to get a degree in something or try to build a business, and you might fail. In fact, many times you're going to fail in life. Failure is part of our growth, but you don't realize that failure is helping you to grow as a person.
Does that mean you never made it to the end game? If you fail, does that mean you haven't made it?
Well, it's funny. You think when we get to the end game, there's going to be something there that's going to be really exciting. But as we learned with, unfortunately, some famous people, the person who did the Travel Channel and the one who made purses, they get there and they find out, obviously, maybe they had some depression in their life, but you finally get there. I've made it. I've succeeded in what I want to do in life. And you get there and you realize, this is not all what I thought it to be.
So you're saying there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow?
There is no pot. And that's why whenever you're doing in life, you need to enjoy wherever you are. Even if you're going to fail, because that failure is what's going to teach you how to grow as a person and help you to not fail next time.
Wow.
I always tell this idea about Thomas Edison. I don't know the exact number. Someone asked him, how'd you invent the light bulb? And he said, I found, 1,000 ways to not invent a light bulb.
It's crazy how much work goes into that. We look at people all the time and say, what an overnight success. He didn't even have to do anything.
No such thing as an overnight success.
No such thing.
It's 10 years in the making.
It's impossible to wake up one day and say like, oh, I've made it.
Right.
Because it doesn't exist. There is no, I've made it.
It's just work and work and work. And of course, the younger you start, the better likely you have a chance of succeeding. They say that luck, the idea of luck, he got lucky, he made it. Luck is when opportunity and preparation meet, which means...
Beautiful.
Yes. So what's the preparation? All the hard work that you put into things. All the hard work, like, my son, I don't know if you know, my son is producing music, and he's been working now since the beginning of Corona. He's young, he's only 16, but he's putting the work, and I said, there's no such thing as overnight success.
And he's doing great, by the way. You have to listen to his music.
Oh, yeah,
it's so exciting.
His stage name is Liam Max, Liam-Max, and his first video came out called Muffin. And I think it's all a part of the journey. There's every day there's hundreds of musicians coming out with songs. Actually, Spotify, I think now has 60,000 songs a day being put
60,000
songs.
That's
crazy.
A day?
How do you get out there?
How do you do that?
You can't. The only way you can do is building and building and building. And many times you're going to fail. And then eventually, if you have good content and you're positive, upbeat, eventually you'll start finding listeners.
How do you stand out?
That's a whole.
How do you stay up? That's crazy.
That's a different podcast.
Stay tuned. That's
we're not going to get
into
that. We're going to stay on topic about your journey.
60,000 songs a day.
Right.
Wow.
So I look back at my journey, and I look back how I used to play piano, and I thought it was great. I mean, everyone told me I was great. It was whatever. And then I always liked being on stage because I was always playing the piano for choruses and musicals. And I liked being on stage. I really enjoyed it. And then as I got older, I decided not to play piano. I decided to go into the coin business. And in the coin business, I had to make connections with people. The more you make connections with people, the more success you're going to have in your financial journey. Actually, in any journey.
It makes a lot of sense.
It does, right?
Connections are the fuel.
So I like connecting with people. And then one day I started learning wisdom from different rabbis and rabbitsons, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to get up on stage and teach. And it all started from playing the piano, just because I like being on stage. And I didn't realize that at the time, even though I don't really play the piano anymore, which I really should, because I was pretty good. Anyway, different story. That's a whole different podcast.
I'm sure it was fun.
Well, it was a lot of fun. I played Chopin and Rachmaninoff and Gershwin and whatever. I played for the Groveton High School, all the musicals, whatever. Anyway, that led me to sitting here doing a podcast, and also led me to writing books and teaching classes and trying to change the life of people. I get pleasure in life which we have a future podcast about pain and pleasure, because the pleasure takes pain. It took me a lot of pain to get here to where we can do this podcast, but I get pleasure in helping people out.
So, Coach, did your journey change? Or is it all part of the same journey?
It morphed.
It morphed.
It morphed. If you would have asked me 10 years ago, am I going to be sitting here doing a podcast? Like, no, there's no way I'm doing a podcast. But now this is what I want to do. And my goal for our podcast is I want to help people out, and I want to inspire people, and I want to make your lives better. And I want you to have wisdom. And overall, just when you stop listening to our show, you're just a happier person.
So, Coach, when I hear journey, I think of what we were saying, used from the start line to the finish line, going from a start line to a finish line. And we just said that a journey is going to evolve and take you. Are you still going to end up at that same finish line you had in mind at the beginning?
No.
No, of course not.
No, you never. I have a concept I always teach is that always be moving forward in life, because you don't know where you're going to be. You have no idea. I mean, this podcast could lead us to doing a gig on Saturday Night Live or a weekday show on NBC. You have no idea where it's going to go. You don't know. It could lead us to writing more books. It could lead us to teaching classes. But because we're moving forward and we're learning and we're trying to help people, you help other people out, good things are going to come to you. They call it karma.
So, Coach, what I'm hearing is that it's good to always be doing something.
Yes.
Sometimes the hardest, the only failure in life is really not starting, not taking that first step. As long as you're moving, you're doing something, you're on a journey and it's taking you somewhere. And it's not about the destination. The joy is in the journey. And as that journey shapes itself, we continue to discover more and more about who we are,
right,
and to live our purpose. And the doors and doors continue to open.
The idea is not do this, get that. Because that's what most people think. I'm going to start a company and I'm going to sell it for $10 billion and I'm done. I'm going to do this and I'm going to get that. But that's not what life is. Life is do this, live that. And because the whole concept of whatever you're doing in your life, whether it's not you're trying to get married or get a PhD or build a business or whatever it is, you want to become a writer, whatever it is in life, everything you do is part of the journey. And if you get to the end game, I'm done, what's left? There's nothing left. And this is why we want to always be growing and learning as people.
Do this, live that. That's what life is. And that's how you maximize your life's journey. Thank you so much for listening, Coach. This was great.
This is awesome. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you next time.
Tune in next time.